Good day, everyone. We are the Group 5 reporters and we will be discussing communicating under engineering management. I am Miguel Antonio B. Gomez and here are my group mates.
I am Lawrence Andre A. Garcia.
And I'm Jean Paul Enrique Ladrillo, and we are the Group 6.
So let us start with our report. Communicating. Next slide. So I have a question for everyone who is watching. How important is communication for you? So communication under engineering management, the achievements of the objectives of engineering organization will depend on the performance of the human and non-human elements attached to it. So there are tasks that are programmed to these elements so that they will respond according to their assigned tasks. So in machines there are standard programming that methods that have been implemented already. So in machines we can transfer data, we can control them to how we want them to work and etc. And the programming approach to human element is different and they must be dealt with methods espoused by behavioral scientists. So it is said that employees will perform according to the dictates of their mind. So if this is really true, then the management must have a powerful means of persuasion under an atmosphere conducive to effective communication. So for example, a boss, he has to be a leader or an example to motivate his workers. You have to set an example or a standard for them to work correctly under you. And there is an issue, and the issue is management using the communication option effectively? And the answer to this must always be yes. So if it is not yes, then there may be a trouble forthcoming if it has not yet arrived. Okay, next slide. Our learning targets for today are: the student should understand the role of communication in engineering management. The student should be able to identify the different functions of communication, and the student should be able to describe the communication process. So, what is communication? According to Morris Philip and Shirley Kuiper, they define communication as a process of sharing information through symbols, including words and messages. So, they say that communication can be done verbally and non-verbally. Communication may happen between superior and subordinate, between peers, between a manager and a client or customer, between an employee and a government representative, etc. It may be done through face-to-face or through printed materials or through an electronics device like the telephone or etc. So under civil engineering, a lot of us use our electronic devices such as cell phones to save time in communicating through other clients or workmates or our superiors. And sometimes we also do formal gatherings such as meeting to meet our clients, our superiors or our subordinates to have an important discussion of a specific matter. So in management, communication must be made for a purpose, and because it has a cost attached to it, it must be used effectively. So, it says here that dapat gamitin natin ang communication ng maayos sa management dahil kunyari, kung magkakaroon tayo ng deliveries for a certain date and sometimes magkakaroon ng delays if na delay natin yung pag-transfer ng message. So we had delays in communication, and through that we would waste time, and time affects our progress in doing the project, and that would cost us net loss in our company. Okay, next. Question for everyone. What is the one thing you like about communicating with other people? We will have our next speaker, Mr. John Paul Inri.
So here we have four functions of communication, which are information function, motivation function, control function, and emotive function. Information function. Information provided through communication may be used for decision making at various work levels in the organization. Information function is used for imparting facts, knowledge, and to inform, sending notices and memos. This function will help engineers to inform their co-engineers and also their employees that is part of the organization. For example, kapag nasa construction site tayo, kadalasan yung information ay nanggagaling sa mga head o kaya project engineer at from them ipapasa yung information to site engineers. At pagkatapos nun, yung information na yun, i-disseminate siya and ipapasa naman sa mga construction workers. Motivation function. Communication is also oftentimes used as a means to motivate employees to commit themselves to the organization's objectives. Dito naman, motivation function is the other way of maintaining the productivity rate or the overall performance of the employees. The ones who usually doing this kind of stuff are the engineer managers, general managers, and the engineer. As an engineer manager, there are many ways on how we can motivate our workers. For example, giving them positive feedbacks and rewarding their hard work by giving them some incentives. Control function. When properly communicated, reports, policies, and plans define roles, clarify duties, authorities, and responsibilities. Ang control function means monitoring a firm's progress towards meeting its organizational or project goals and objectives. The most important function of controlling is to compare the actual performance with expect results. The example of this function are scheduling and deadline management, performance evaluations, and employee training. Through this function, engineer can use all available resources optimally and prevent their wastage to save money and time. And last, emotive function. When feelings are repressed in the organization, employees are affected by anxiety, which in turn affects their performance. Emotive function means giving sympathy to your coworkers or simply with other people, whether it is from your organization or not. This function is also called as an expressive function, and this function is important to engineers because it will help them to show or interpret their emotions, feelings, desire, and moods to their co-engineers and workers. Next.
So, good day everyone, classmates, ma'am. I am here to discuss the communication process that consists of 9 essential components. And these are sender, develops idea, encodes, transmits, receiver, who receives message, decodes, accepts or rejects, and provide feedback. We have here the develop an idea. The most important step in effective communication is developing an idea. It is important that the idea to be conveyed must be useful or of some value. Because this alone could have a significant impact on very effective message, you must be critical and imaginative while generating an idea. Ayaw mo naman din siguro maranasan yung makipag-usap sa taong useless or walang sense yung mga sinasabi. Thus, it is critical that the sender or speaker use their imaginative abilities to the fullest when constructing a message. The second one is encode. Encode the idea into words, illustrations, figures, or other symbols suitable for transmission. The form idea will now go through this stage because it needs to be encoded with many illustrations rather than remaining in your head as an idea alone. Also, para hindi rin makalimutan at masayang yung idea na nabuo mo. Or to make it simple, we are all familiar with the soft copy and hard copy of documents. Parang ganun lang siya. the soft copy as the idea, and the hard copy as the tool in remembering the idea. And the third one is transmit. Proper transmission is very important so the message sent will reach and hold the attention of the receiver. This is how the message is transmitted to the receiver, and it is one of the most important elements as it is where the interaction begins. Then, receive. Actual receiving of the message by the intended receiver, the message may be initially received by a machine or by a person. With the current state of technology, communications may now be conveyed via a variety of platforms, including letters, which are the traditional means of communicating, SMS or short message service, MMS, multimedia message service, and others. Thus, the recipient has just received the message and has not yet had the chance to read it. And so, if the sender is the encoder, then the receiver is the decoder of the message, translating the message from the sender into a form that will have a meaning to the recipient. And it is the recipient's responsibility to interpret the message and make the appropriate decision. Will the message be accepted or rejected? And that will rely on the message being sent and whether it falls into the acceptance or rejection category. And we have here the factors that will affect the acceptance or rejection of a message are as follows. Number one is the accuracy of the message. Number two is whether or not the sender has the authority to send the message and require action. The third one is the behavioral implications for the receiver. And after the message has been exposed to numerous tests, this is where use will come up. If the message provides use information of importance to a relevant activity, then the receiver could store it and retrieve it when required. If the message requires a certain action to be made, then he may do so. Otherwise, he discards it as soon as it is received. It is at this point that the receiver decides how and what he feels about the message, and all decisions will be dependent on him, which is why he is also the one responsible for providing a feedback.
Forms of communication. We have two forms of communication which are verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication. Verbal communication are the transmitted through hearing or sight. It is any communication that uses words to share information with others. We have two classifications of verbal communication, which are oral communication and written communication. Oral communication mostly involves hearing the words of the sender. Oral communication means communicating with spoken words in a form of speech, meeting, and more. Through oral communication, engineering can effectively express complex ideas and informations with clarity. Dito sa oral communication, we have advantages and disadvantage. First, ang mga advantage muna. Sa oral communication, we have two advantage and these are it brings quick feedback and facial expression and body language are visible. Ang disadvantage naman ng oral communication, the receiver is unable to deeply think about what is being delivered. Next, written communication. The sender seeks to communicate through the written word. Written communication means the exchange of information, ideas, or messages through letters, email, notes, and memos. If an engineer can communicate effectively in written form, he or she will have greater opportunities for leadership. And gaya nga ng oral communication, meron ring advantages and disadvantage ang written communication. And these are the advantage of written communication. Message can be edited or revised. It provides record and backup for future purposes. It enables receiver to fully understand the message. And the disadvantage of written communications are it does not bring immediate feedback, takes more time in composing a written message. Next, nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication means of conveying message through body language as well as the use of time, space, touch, clothing, appearance, and aesthetic elements. Body language consists of gesture, bodily movement, posture, facial expression, and mannerism of all kinds. Uh, this nonverbal communication means it is a form of communication between people that don't have a direct verbal translation. These nonverbal cues are extremely important in the field because how everyone perceives each other, it impacts the project success. And gaya nga ng mga sinabi ko kanina, ang nonverbal communication ay merong ring advantage and disadvantage. Ang advantage ng nonverbal communication is it can express feelings, emotion, and intention without using any words. Samantalang ang disadvantage naman ng nonverbal communication is it can be easily misinterpreted and lead to misunderstanding.
So we have here a question. Why is it connected in engineering management? Why communication is connected in our field? We have here Miguel to answer.
So, alam naman natin na communication is like a nature to humans, and as well as under anything that we do, we need to communicate with other people to give our idea to them and to also have their idea or response with through our from our idea. And under engineering management, we need communication a lot because we need to be transparent with everything that we do, and we need to have them informed because sabi ko nga, there is a cost attached to communication, and if there is any delays, we would lose our set time, and through that time we would also lose our you know um set schedules, and we would have setbacks.
And also John Paul to answer.
So, why communication is connected in engineering management? Gaya nga ng sabi ni Miguel, mahalaga ang communication sa engineering management, lalo na kapag tayo ay nasa mga on-site projects. Kasi if we don't have proper communication or clear communication with our clients or coworkers, employees, di magiging garantisado na magiging successful ang project natin. Kasi para magkaroon tayo ng magandang result sa gagawin natin, kailangan ng effective na communication. And I think yun lang po.
So, why is it connected in engineering management? Simply because strong communication skills facilitate effective presentations, allowing engineers to articulate their vision and rationale for design choices. Engineers must be able to communicate properly in order to collaborate effectively with colleagues, clients, and stakeholders. Engineers can more effectively share their ideas and collaborate with others to solve complex problems if they develop strong communication skills. Hindi lang naman iikot yung works natin through working hand-in-hand sa field. Rather, we will step outside of our comfort zone to present what we have, what we can do, and the skills that the time has molded us into. So, ganun ka-importante yung communication sa field natin. That is why pinag-aaralan natin siya ngayon, and I hope that answers the question. And we also have here a question that could be answered by our classmates sa comment section. What is the most important lesson you've learned from the topic? And that's it. That ends our presentation. And if you have any questions, you can just comment it in the comment section. And
We will respond to your questions. Thank you and good day po to listening. Thank you for